Hello! Welcome to Bad at Board Games. My name's Brad Lake, and I'm bad at board games, so you don't have to be. Today we're going to be talking about Age of Innovations. Stick around, find out what my value rating is, what my BGG rating is, pros, cons, best player count, all the fun things. Is this going to be better than Gaia Project, better than Terra Mystica, mix of both? We'll find out. Stick around. Age of Innovations is published by CG and Fureland Games and is designed by Helge Ostertag and Alvaro Escudero. The theme is innovating and things like that, and this doesn't have a theme in my opinion. They've kind of combined Terra Mystica with some different graphics, and that makes you think like, oh, I'm going to be generating these different, you're building universities and cities and such, but it doesn't feel like you're innovating anything. Just being honest with you. I think the theme is very light, just a reskin. Mechanical differences definitely, and some mechanicals, same things as the others, but the pictures are cooler. How's that? That's the theme. Mechanics, we have action resource selection. So on your turn, you get, one of 10 things you can do. There's end of game bonuses and end of round bonuses. You have an income phase, depending on what you've unlocked on your tableau or other tiles that you may have collected. And then there's variable setup, a lot of variable setup. The end of round objectives are going to change. The book powers that you can get are going to change. The way that the rewards are when you build a city, it used to be, like a cathedral or research station. Now it's a university, or the priest, whatever, in Terra Mystica. We still have the same track like Terra Mystica that was for the priests. And then, so there's a lot of variability in all of that. So it's not going to feel like you'll feel like you're playing the same game, but you're going to be challenged depending on what is out. And you actually have variable. The big thing about this one versus Terra Mystica and Terra or Gaia Project is that your people, the characters you're playing, have variable setup, and that's something we'll get into in the pros and cons. And then variable turn orders. So depending on who passes first person to pass will be first in the next round, so forth and so on. So that order is changing throughout the game. This plays 1 to 7, does have a solo game, solo autonoma. I haven't played it. I usually play solo autonoma on BGA for Gaia Project just because it's kind of a beast in Gaia Project. It looks a bit similar. You may find it easy. I just prefer to play something like that online. I don't believe there's anything online for solo on this just yet, but it does have all the solo options. And then this can play up to 5. I would definitely not recommend any Euros, except maybe Barrage playing up to 5. I think this plays fine at 3 and 4. 3 might be the sweet spot. Doesn't take too long to play. 4, you're really going to be vying, and it's going to feel a lot tighter at 4, but very playable at 4. I've played Gaia Project at 4. I don't see that this would be much different. You're just looking at length of time and how tight the resources get throughout the game. It's going to take about 40 minutes per player. Our play this last week with a teach took less than 3 hours. But the teach was, everybody kind of had played Terra Mystica or Gaia Project, so it went fairly quickly. Didn't have to really explain and understand like moving the power through the bowls and a lot of the other things. That wasn't the parts that we were training. So If it's the first time you've played Gaia Project, Terra Mystica, or Age of Innovations, there's a pretty steep learning curve. Watching John Gets Games and reading the rule book, and kind of like you have to mesh both of them together. So just be aware of that first couple of plays in doing that. So the turn orders are similar to Terra Mystica and Gaia Project. We do have a new thing, which we'll get into. You're going to start with your income. Depending on what you have unlocked here, you are also going to have income potentially based on your leader that you have chosen, the characters that you have chosen, and you may have a few other things that give you income. So anytime you see this hand out, like, that's your income, that's your cue to get income, and the game kind of walks you through step by step what you're supposed to do. And then after you get your income, the actions that you have available, and you're going to do one action, and then it'll go to the next person, and then it comes back. So you just keep going until you decide to pass. You can terraform and build. So you can terraform something adjacent to you. Unlike Gaia Project, when you can increase your distance, you can go further away. This lets you do that a little bit on the river only, but you can't skip spaces. It doesn't give you, like, jump over somebody else. So you're building out in adjacency to your current buildings. And then you do not have to, like Terra Mystica, you don't have to build a building there, but then somebody else can come back and take it away from you and terraform it to something else if you don't put a building on it right when you build. The next action you can take is to upgrade one of your basic buildings to, maybe a more advanced one. And the next level up is where you get your money income. The next level up from that is like for the priests or the research buildings, depending on if you're familiar with Terra Mystica or Gaia Project. And then you can also go to the large building and the large research station. And I'm going to refer to them in the wrong terms because I've played Gaia Project way more than this. You can increase your sailing distance, and it feels a little different because these tracks are on your tableau in Gaia Project. They are not. I can't remember where they are in Terra Mystica. You can upgrade terraforming, which is also on your tableau versus being on a tech track in Gaia Project. And then you can develop a new nation, which is the new thing. They have this board, and let me get it. There's a couple more, but they're aligned to the different tracks. So you've got blue and white and brown and yellow tracks, and you'll have 2 of these rewards in each one of them. Some of them are victory points depending on how many buildings you have out, and these vary. Some of them increase the power of your city. Some of them allow you to get a neutral building, which these things are, and reduce the number of buildings you need in your city. For those Federation for Gaia Project people. This one allows you to get minerals for every mine that you have out on those rounds. And these are perpetually, you continue to get these. Sometimes they're one-offs, sometimes, and so you kind of have to look at each one of these. Is this something I'm going to get all the time? Is this a one-off? And help you understand what's going on there. This one's got, 10 victory points based on how far you up are on the cultist track from the Terra Mystica world of life. But that one's kind of cool. I do like that. And then you can send a scholar, which is your priest. They don't have this in Gaia Project, to the this track here. And this will be very familiar to the Terra Mystica people. They do not have this in Gaia Project. It's different. They've integrated the tech and that together. But you basically get one of your priests, one of your one of your guys, and put them out on there. And then there's a race. If you're the first person there, you move up 3. Second, third, and fourth, you're going to move up 2 on each spot. And then power and book actions. So this is similar. I don't know where this is located on the board in Terra Mystica, but Gaia Project, you've got, I can trade 4 power in for 7 money, or 4 power in to terraform a planet. They have this track here, and then they've added a new resource to this game, and it's books. So you've got variable setup where you can pay like 2 books to get 6 coins. There's 3 spaces here for books, and that gives you just something else you can use to another resource you can use to get something else to then chain into something else. You have abilities, one-time abilities where they're orange, and sometimes they're on your player board. Other times you're going to pick up tiles, and you get to use this each round. What you'll do is you'll put a cover over this after you've used it, and then at the end of the round you'll open it up, so you'll be able to use this action every round, but you're only going to be able to use it once per round. And then resource conversion. This is where a lot of people get hung up on the difficulty of Gaia Project, because there's a lot going out over here, but then you also are converting these little, in Gaia Project it was power. I don't remember what it's called. I think it's it's like some witch's brew in Terra Mystica. These are little innovation, I don't know, knowledge maybe. The theme is so weak. But you're taking these little purple guys and you're moving them between the 3 bowls. And once you have any purple chips in the 3rd area, you can then use them to buy and get stuff. And then those go down to the 1st bowl. And the object is to move them around as much as possible so that you can kind of get some free actions going on in the game. And then you pass. And then just like Terra Mystica and Gaia Project, you're going to trade in the tile that you have that benefited you for that round, and you're going to trade it in for something else that's available. And then that sets the player order for the next round. So if you're the first person to pass, you're going to have maybe the best, maybe not, choice of what's available, but you'll get to go first for the next round. And then the second person to pass is going to go second, third person, third. So that part of it's pretty straightforward. A lot of the other parts of this game are not. But once you get over that learning curve, these games are enjoyable. Gaia Project is one of my favorites. Pros and cons. So I do like this new development track, development nation. So you just get this board, and you're going to have these different chits on here, and they cost, to get one of these, you're going to have to pay 2 book. Like if I want something that's in the yellow, you'll have to pay 2 yellow books, and then 3 other books of any color. That could be 1 of each color, 3 of another solid color. And then if you have your biggest building built, you won't have to pay anything else. If you don't, you'll have to pay the book price and 5 coins on top of that. So it doesn't necessarily, it kind of penalizes you, but you can still like race to try to get something sooner, without having to have spent all your resources to get the biggest building. So there is a way, because the biggest building, you're going to pay 6 coins and 4 minerals to upgrade that building, which would slow you down if you wanted to get one of these. And some of these are pretty good. So it is a race. It isn't a race. There's only 1 of each. But there may be something that you want to get sooner, so you decide you're going to go for that track and get that benefit early on. And then some of them are definitely going to be late game, because depending on how many buildings you have out, it'll give you victory points for your buildings. So you're going to want to, you're going to be wanting to look at that and try to plan for that as you go. But I did like that track. I like the fact that this doesn't feel as tight as Gaia Project. Gaia Project can kind of feel punishing with like income. There are other ways to get income in this game. So the end of round bonuses is really something I enjoy. And you'll be able to see, okay, for every this, I'm going to get this. So for every innovator scholar I have going up on the brown track, I'm going to get a coin. So like these allow you to get income, and that kind of opens things up. Gaia Project, and I'm not 100% sure with Terra Mystica, the end of round objectives and victory points, you just get victory points. You don't get any resources to go on top of it. So I like that. It opens it up a little, doesn't make it quite as tight, and I do enjoy that. The variable classes. So the fact that you're not locked into let's see, this is the blessed people, and they get these bonuses, and it's always the same. Those bonuses that they get always change, and I like that. Part of Gaia Project's complexity and just like, oh my, overwhelmingness is that you've got all this stuff, and then on top of that, you've got all these, alien races that you're trying to be and trying to understand how they are. This has that, but it also, it's constantly changing. You could get a really good matchup. You're going to choose what's there, and it may be a good matchup, and so you're going to pass. Next time you see it, it may be a good combination. So then you're like, I gotta have it. So I like that. I like this variability that's going on with the characters. And then some of my cons. And this is a con with Terra Mystica versus Gaia Project. The rivers and the distance. I like Gaia Projects. The further you can go, you can go out in any distance. You can skip over hexes, and you're trying to get to the other planets. So I like that in Gaia Project versus Terra Mystica, and this is definitely more on the Terra Mystica side. And then I'm still undecided about that you can terraform something and not build a building on it, and then somebody else could terraform over the top of it. I don't, in Gaia Project, it just forces you have to build a building. That's part of the terraforming side of things, right? So it feels like a little bit of I like Take That, but I'm not really sure about Take That in this game. There's enough going on. But in the end, terraform and build a building. If you can't, don't do it. And then the other con I kind of have is that the end goals, the very end game, like in Gaia Project, those change as well. In this game, it doesn't, and I don't understand why. I mean, they have variability everywhere else. It's odd that the final 3 objectives don't change. So I thought that was a little strange. I do like that variability in it, but I don't know if Terra Mystica is always consistently the same as well. It's been a while since I've played Terra Mystica. Other thing I like, bouncing back, I do like the neutral buildings. They have some towers that you can add on to help get your city to that 7 power size. And then they also have these annexes that you can add on to your building, so that you can take like a level 1 building and turn it into a level 2 building, or a level 3, and it becomes a level 4 as far as the power and being able to create your city federation type thing. I like that. And then it goes to the city size and goes to the in-game, how big is your city, objective points. So I thought that was kind of cool too. So weight rating, this is sitting BGG at 4.266, and I agree with it. I would say mine's like a 4.25. This is a heavy game. The learning curve is significant. Trying to understand the different tracks, and especially people get stuck on how the bowls go, and then building next to somebody, you can lose a couple victory points and gain and move some purple power around the bowls. So that definitely is something that tricks people, because it's such a different mechanic than any other game you'll see out there. Value rating, this is at $80. This is typical, I would say all of them have been at $80. Gaia Project's finally in the $60 to $80 range. And you've got decent components. You got a lot of stuff, a lot of chits. I wouldn't say there's really much organization to it. This from Plano is really nice. There's so many little pieces. Would recommend one of these. So you're going to be putting a little bit into it. These are nice to help organize your resources, your blocks, and your coins. So I would invest in that a little bit. It's going to make it a little bit easier to get to the table, but there's still a lot as far as setting this up. Value rating at $80. I think this is 3.5 to 4 out of 5. You're going to want to be able to get it tabled. You just have to realize that this is a heavy euro, right? And if you like these kind of games, you're going to enjoy the value of it. If you've never played this type of game, I would probably recommend finding Gaia Project or Terra Mystica on sale cheaper. It's not often, but at least you can get Gaia like around $60. You'll get the feel for the mechanic, and then if it's something you like, then maybe you'd want to spend the extra money, or it's $20 more. Try it and see if you like it. But there are apps that you can play Terra Mystica on. The BGA has Gaia Project and Terra Mystica. You can try this out before you buy, so to speak. But I'm going to stick with that 3.5 to 4 out of 5 value rating for $80. And I don't think you need all three of these. You don't know. If you have one, you can be very happy at one. I've played Gaia Project over 50 times now, and I don't think I'm going to stop playing Gaia Project to now play this. I think you'll be happy with the one that you like. And that brings us on to our BGG rating. So BGG rank or votes on Board Game Geek is looking at 8.8 for 3,100 votes. So it's very highly rated. People, say like, oh, I like this better in Gaia Project and Terra Mystica. They've kind of formed both. I feel like it's Terra Mystica plus versus Gaia Project different. It definitely feels more like Terra Mystica. Now, I like some of the things that they've loosened up, even though it still feels tight, versus Gaia Project. And so I could say, like, you can see some things in there, like but I still feel like I'm playing more Terra Mystica than I am playing Gaia Project. I see the mechanics and I see the similarities, but those similarities that are in Gaia Project are in Terra Mystica. I like the fact that you don't have a cultist or a scholar track in Gaia Project better. But Gaia Project plays tighter, and I like the variability of this. So I all that to say, I think this is an 8. I still think Gaia Project better in my opinion, but if I'm biased, I've played it 50 times. Now I think this is a very good game, and I would definitely play it. I like the variability of the characters that you're picking. I definitely prefer Gaia Project's map and the movement around that map versus Terra Mystica. And this game, this is definitely more on the Terra Mystica side. Like I said, this, in the end, if you liked Terra Mystica, you're probably going to like this. You may even like this more, unless you've got all the expansions and you like everything for Terra Mystica. You may just be like, no, I like Terra Mystica better. They've just added a couple things in here, I think, to tweak versus Terra Mystica, and I think it does play different than Gaia Project. But you see the similarities and you see all the connecting pieces. But in the end, I recommend it. I don't know if I can recommend it if you've already got one of the others. That's my only caveat. So, what do you think? Do you have this? Do you have all three? Do you like Terra Mystica better, Gaia Project? Have you played this? Do you like this better? Which camp are you in? Typically, people always move to one or the other in their preference. So I'd like to know what you think, and let me know how I did. Hopefully you like this enough. Subscribe, like, all those fun things. Trying to get some more reviews done instead of just the rambling that goes on in between. Anyway, just remember, no matter how you play, whether it's solo, with family, or friends, enjoy whatever you are bringing to the table. Have a great night.